So, when you hear the term cybersecurity risk management, what comes to mind? Probably a dark room, humming servers, a problem for the IT folks. But what if I told you that view is, well, it's dangerously outdated? In this explainer, we're going to completely reframe this. We're going to look at cyber risk not as just some technical issue, but as a core business discipline, something everyone, and I mean everyone, needs to be a part of. All right, let's dive in. So let's kick things off with a question for you. Is your biggest risk really a hacker in a hoodie? I mean, yeah, they're definitely a huge threat, no question about it. But what about that super important spreadsheet? You know the one, filled with customer data, just sitting on someone's desktop, unmanaged. Or how about that key piece of software that hasn't seen an update in, what, years? See, the world of cyber risk is so much bigger and honestly often a lot more mundane than most of us think. Okay, so to make sure we're all speaking the same language here, let's break down what we actually mean by cyber risk management. So here's the textbook definition. At its heart, it's a structured, continuous process. And those are the two words I really want you to hang on to, structured and continuous. Structured means it's not just guesswork, right? There's a real, repeatable method to it. And continuous is the big one. This is not a project you just finish. It's a cycle that literally never stops. Because guess what? The threats never stop evolving either. But let's put that in simpler terms. A really good way to think about it is like this. It's a continuous health check for your digital operations. I mean, think about it. You don't go to the doctor once in your life and just say, yep, I'm good forever. No way. You monitor things, you do check-ins, you adapt your lifestyle. It is the exact same idea here for managing cyber risk. All right, so that's the what, but let's get to the why. Why should someone in marketing or sales or even the CEO really care about this stuff? The answer is actually pretty simple. Because when you do this right, risk management stops being a cost center and becomes a true business enabler. First off, and this is the big one, it protects the value you've already created. This is pure defense. When you understand your risks, you can actively work to lower the chances of something bad happening. A nasty data breach or a ransomware attack. And hey, if something does happen, you can minimize the damage. We're talking about protecting your reputation, your operations, and maybe most importantly, the trust your customers place in you. And this next point, this is where we need a really crucial mindset shift. For years, the security team was basically known as the Department of No, right? They were the ones who always shut down cool ideas. But modern risk management, it's not about being a roadblock. It's about putting up guardrails. It's about showing the business how to innovate safely, how to adopt new things like cloud and AI without blowing everything up. It actually lets you move faster because you're moving with confidence. Then, of course, there's the part that's just not optional. In today's world, there are countless laws, regulations, and even contracts that dictate how you have to protect data. A structured risk management program is basically how you prove you're doing your homework. It's your evidence, your due diligence, that shows you're actually meeting those obligations and taking this whole thing seriously. And you know what all of this leads to? It creates crystal clear accountability. When a risk pops up, the big question is always, who owns it? Is it marketing's problem? Is it finances? A proper program gets rid of the guesswork. It clarifies exactly who owns what, making sure the right people are making informed decisions with the full business picture in front of them. So, we've got the what and the why covered. Now let's get into the how. How does this actually work day to day? Well, it all boils down to a pretty simple 4-step cycle that just keeps on repeating. Okay, so this whole process is a continuous loop. First up, you've got to identify. I mean, you can't protect what you don't know you have, right? Then you assess and measure those risks to figure out what the actual business impact could be. After that, you treat the risk. You decide what you're going to do about it. And finally, you monitor and report. You keep an eye on things, see how your defenses are holding up, and that feedback loops right back into the beginning, starting the whole cycle over again. Let's make that assess and measure step a bit more real. We do that with something called a risk register. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't just some boring list of tech problems. It's a really important business document. Look at how it works. It takes a technical issue like an unpatched server and translates it into what the business actually cares about, a potential data breach. It gives it a likelihood, a potential impact, and, this is absolutely key, it assigns an owner. This is the moment where tech jargon gets translated into business strategy. Okay, so once you have a risk identified and sized up in your register, you gotta decide what to do about it. And that brings us to your mitigation playbook. Basically, the different strategies you can use. When it comes right down to it, you really only have 4 main choices. First, you can reduce the risk, by putting in some security controls. Second, you can transfer it. Think buying cyber insurance. Third, you can avoid the risk altogether by just not doing the risky thing in the first place. Or fourth, you can formally accept it, which means you acknowledge the risk and you make a conscious decision to live with it. Now, by far, the most common strategy is to reduce the risk. This is where all those security controls come into play. For instance, multi-factor authentication, or MFA. You know what that is. It's that extra code you get on your phone to prove you are who you say you are. Then you've got vulnerability and patch management. Sounds complicated, but it's really just this simple, disciplined habit of keeping all your software up to date. Endpoint detection and response, or EDR, think of that as a little security camera on every single company computer. And of course, secure backups. These are your absolute lifeline, your get-out-of-jail-free card to recover quickly when things go bad. All of these are just practical ways to bring that risk level down. So we've walked through the what, the why, and the how. But I'm going to be honest, the most important piece of this puzzle isn't the fancy tools or the detailed process. It's the mindset. To really make this work, you have to stop thinking of it as a process and start treating it like a true business discipline. And right here, this is it. This is the number one reason these programs fail. People treat it like a one-time project, something you do, check off the list, and then forget about. But the reality is, it has to be a continuous process that's baked right into your company culture. The best analogy I can give you is this. It's the difference between going on a crash diet versus making a permanent, sustainable lifestyle change. And we all know which one of those actually works in the long run. And that really brings us to the main takeaway of this whole thing. Cybersecurity risk management is a repeatable business discipline. Look, it's not about some kind of magic bullet. It's not about reaching some mythical, unhackable state that doesn't exist. It's about making smart, informed decisions day in and day out that align how you protect your company with what your company is trying to achieve. So I'll leave you with one final question to take back to your team. Are you treating cyber risk like a one-off project, or are you truly building a permanent discipline?